1. The Whispering Shadows. In a small, quiet town, Lydia had always been fascinated by the abandoned house at the end of Willow Street. It was rumored to be haunted, but her curiosity got the best of her one evening. Armed with just a flashlight and her courage, she decided to explore it. As soon as she stepped inside, the air turned cold. The wooden floor creaked under her weight, and shadows flickered on the walls. Lydia could hear faint whispers echoing through the halls, but she couldn't make out the words. Dismissing them as figments of her imagination, she ventured deeper. In one room, she found a dusty old mirror. As she cleaned it, the whispers grew louder, forming coherent sentences. "Get out while you can," they warned. Suddenly, the mirror reflected not her image but a shadowy figure standing behind her. Lydia turned around, heart pounding, but there was nothing there. Panicking, she stumbled back and fell, knocking over a lantern that ignited the curtains. As the flames spread, she scrambled to the exit, only to meet the shadow at the door. "You're not leaving," it hissed. The house engulfed in flames, Lydia realized she might never escape the whispers. 2. The Face in the Window. Danny was home alone one night while his parents were out. It was stormy, and the wind howled outside, but all he could think about was finishing his favorite video game. Suddenly, a loud thud came from the window. He dismissed it as the wind and continued playing. Minutes later, he heard it again, this time closer. He paused his game and stepped towards the window. Peering out into the rain, he could barely make out a figure standing under a streetlight. It was a woman, her long hair soaked and her clothes tattered. But what horrified him was her face, which was pale and expressionless, staring straight at him. Danny felt a chill run down his spine. He retreated into the living room, trying to convince himself it was just his imagination. But every time he looked back at the window, she was still there, unmoving. Finally, he gathered the courage to call for help, but as he reached for his phone, a loud knock came from the front door. Swallowing his fear, he opened the door to find it was no one. Just an empty porch. Frantic, he dashed back to the window, only to find the woman now right outside, her face pressed against the glass. "Let me in," she whispered, her voice almost sweet, but with a chilling undertone. Frozen in fear, Danny realized he couldn't escape what was already inside. 3. The Uninvited Guest. Sarah had always loved hosting parties, but this year felt different. As she planned her Halloween gathering, an unsettling feeling crept over her. Ignoring it, she decorated her home, but the feeling only intensified as guests arrived. The night was filled with laughter and frightful games until, around midnight, a sudden power outage plunged the house into darkness. Candles were lit but did little to chase away the growing unease. Then, someone noticed a new guest sitting in the corner, a man in a tattered coat, his face obscured by shadows. "Who invited him?" Sarah asked, but no one seemed to know. The stranger just sat there, unmoving, watching them. The group tried to ignore him, but one by one, they began to feel uneasy, whispering to each other about leaving. Suddenly, the lights flickered back on, and the stranger was gone. Confused, Sarah led her friends to the door, insisting they leave. As they stepped outside, one friend, Emily, realized she was missing her phone. They searched for it inside, but the strange man reappeared, now standing in the hallway, blocking their exit. "Stay with me," he said softly, but there was a dissonance in his voice that sent chills down their spines. The walls seemed to close in as they backed away. Before they could react, the man lunged at him, and the lights went out once more. Screams erupted in the darkness, echoing through the empty streets long after the party had ended. When the neighbors finally came to check, they found the house empty, save for blood on the walls and a lingering, cold silence. Tonight's horror stories: the whispering shadow, the face in the window, the uninvited guest. See you in the darkness.